Hey, folks. I'm Camille Who Armstrong, the performing arts Renaissance woman. For over 40 years, I've worked as a performer, educator, consultant, and coach. But most importantly, I'm a parent. From classrooms to stages to bedtime routines, I've spent my life nurturing creativity, character, and connection in the next generation. This series is for you, whether you're expecting, learning as you go, or parenting for the first time, or even third time around. I'm here to share the insights, tools, and real talk I've gathered over 4 decades of hands on experience. Welcome to Camille Who, the Child Whisperer. I'm so glad you're here. I'm Camille Who, the Child Whisperer, and in this mini series within the parenting series, we are uncovering 8 parenting blueprints. These are unconscious patterns that we make, that we default to out of fear, out of stress, when we're tired. And these are shaped by our childhood experiences, our verbal programming, our environments, specific incidents that have happened in our lives, pivotal moments that create beliefs in our belief systems, and we are coming to being these. We're coming with that when we start to parent, and we don't like if we're not aware of these things, if we don't examine ourselves, we are in danger of defaulting to these things to making decisions out of emotional reaction as opposed to out of education. So I am uncovering these parenting blueprints so that we can become aware and we can somehow find a balance. I just want to hopefully help you reframe the way that you're thinking, the things that you're asking yourself, and just maybe help you to find a way to sort of examine your own belief system, and so that you are parenting from an educated standpoint, as opposed to from emotional reaction. The first parenting blueprint was the overachiever slash people pleaser. The second one is the hero, and this next one that we're talking about this week is the rebel. If you've ever found yourself saying, I will never parent the way that I was parented, this one might be yours. This parent had childhood experiences that left a negative imprint. Maybe harsh punishment, emotional distance, strict rules, control, shame, neglect. They made an internal vow: I will never do that to my child. So instead of healing and integrating that experience, finding some sort of a balance, they swing in the opposite direction. Here's the problem: opposite is not necessarily balance, and reaction is not necessarily wisdom. In fact, reaction is not wisdom. When you run from one extreme without understanding it, you often crash into another, or you find yourself in that same place that you were trying to avoid to begin with. Now remember, many of these parenting blueprints, patterns, I have seen in myself. So I know that we all are capable of having these parenting blueprints or having these patterns. It's a matter of becoming aware and making educated choices, right? Know better, do better. Better parent, better future. The real driver isn't freedom, it's unresolved pain, fear of repeating the past, becoming that parent, causing the same wounds, being seen as harsh or controlling. This blueprint is fueled by emotional reaction, not reflection. The rebel doesn't want to hurt their child, but in trying to avoid one form of harm, they create another. Now, here's the breakdown of thoughts lead to feelings, feelings lead to action, actions lead to results. Some thoughts: I don't want my child to experience what I did. I will never punish my child the way that I was punished. They deserve better than I got. The key word here is never. This blueprint is vow driven. How many times have we said, I want my child to be able to have what I never had? Never, never. These are vows that you're making. I will never sound like my mom. And then you default and bam, it like comes out of your brain and out of your mouth. And now you've said exactly what your mom said because you didn't learn the balance. You didn't learn how to integrate how it's necessary, how it's not necessary, where it's necessary, where it's not necessary. The feelings that come from these thoughts, fear, anger, sometimes buried anger, protectiveness, moral superiority, defiance, sometimes unresolved resentment. Actions that come from these feelings, avoiding consequences, avoiding correction, avoiding boundaries, overcompensating with gifts or privileges, giving everything you didn't have, removing discipline entirely, often saying, I just want them to be happy, but confusing happiness with lack of structure. The results for the parent, loss of authority, exhaustion, confusion about how to correct things later, watching behavior escalate. For the child, lack of discipline, lack of boundaries, entitlement, poor work ethic, addiction mentality, high expectation of others, low expectations of self. Without moderation, freedom becomes chaos, and the rebel unintentionally recreates the very instability they were trying to escape. Running from the past is not healing the past. We want to balance lives in understanding, not reaction. You're going to hear me say this a lot. That is the whole point of me writing the book that I'm writing. That is the whole point of me creating this parenting series, is the idea of becoming aware so that we can make educated decisions and not emotional reactive decisions. Your child does not need the opposite of your childhood. They need wisdom refined from it. This takes us looking at these things in our childhood and saying, okay, what was good about it, right? If we can sort of look at these things objectively and say, okay, what worked about it, what did not work? Then we start to refine these things, because there are good things that come from funky stuff. Like, I mean, I grew up low income, and though I would love to say that, oh, I want to give my child everything that I didn't have, but like, because I was low income, my creative brain was like cranking. And so I wouldn't take that away for anything. I want my ability to create. I'm a creative being that, like, I can write, I can make music, I can dance, I can create dances, I can create, like that I don't want to ever go away. And I think that if I just kept getting everything, if I just had everything that I wanted, I wouldn't quite get bored, and I wouldn't tap into that my creative brain. So there's ways that I said, no, okay, my child's not going to get everything. My children are not going to get everything. There's some things they'll be able to have, but there's going to be times where, I'm sorry, my children can tell you that they would say, can I get this? We'd be in the store. Can I get that? And I go, do you got that money? Can I get that car? You got car money? And right away they're like, no. It's like, well, I guess that's your answer. You don't get everything you want, right? Like, some things you got to work for. And to this day, my adult children, they're like, thank you for not giving us everything. Thank you for teaching us work ethic and working for what we want. Thank you for giving us the ability to develop resilience and creativity, and be able to, like, go after the thing that we want. Some more thoughts. Structure is not cruelty. Just because you have structure doesn't mean that you're being cruel. Some parents are like, I was, my parents were too strict, so I'm not going to have this kind of structure. Mm-mm. It's not cruelty, it's actually a good thing. Boundaries are not abuse. Discipline is not trauma. Discipline without love wounds, but love without discipline weakens. To the rebel, my dear rebels, your strength is not, your strength is your compassion. You are a compassionate person, and that is a strength of yours. Your weakness, though, is your reaction. And so build back that foundation, and you will make like the most beautifully framed and crafted choices for your child, lined with that beautiful compassion. Compassion is great to be able to really validate your child's feelings and really walk with them in this life as they experience certain things, and it's a great quality to have, but finding balance is also equally as important. What if instead of rebelling against your past, you learned from it? These are questions I want you to ask yourself. What if you kept what was strong, removed what was harmful, and built something that was balanced? These are the choices we can make out of education. Being educated, we can choose to restructure something that seemed bad, seemed harmful, extract the goodness of it, and then build something balanced using it and refine what happened in the last generation, right? It's all about this generation being better than the last and the next generation being better than our generation. Your child does not need revenge parenting, they need refined parenting, right? So it's all about refining, taking what was good, taking those strong points and refining. Some other questions to ask. What are you still angry about? What vows did you make as a child? For me, one of my vows that I made was I don't have a green thumb, so I won't ever be able to take care of plants. Another vow I made was I will never ask anyone for money because I don't want to have a fight. Of course, I learned later that, oh, no, I can ask my partner for money. Silly, right? But it was for the longest time I really just suffered because of this core belief system, the thing that I had in my core belief system, instead of really just questioning it and examining it, questioning it, finding out what was wrong with it, finding out that there is another way. Another question to ask yourself: are you parenting from wisdom or from rebellion? These are great questions to ask yourself. It would be great if you asked these questions before you had that child. Because many of us go, okay, I want to be this kind of parent, I want to do that, and I don't want to do that, and I da 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 da. Like, these are the dreams that we have before our child is born. And so these are the questions that you want to be challenging yourself with. And lastly, are you raising a disciplined adult or a protected child? Sheltered child. Remember, the rebel parent doesn't need to harden, they need to balance. Another thing to remember: going the opposite direction is not avoiding the thing, it's actually creating a whole other imbalance. And you'll find yourself running into the very thing that you were avoiding or thought you were avoiding to begin with. That is it for the rebel. In the next blueprint, we will uncover yet another pattern that shapes families in ways that we don't quite know until we are aware of it. I'm Camille Who, the Child Whisperer. I hope you're enjoying this mini series within the series of the Child Whisperer, and I am out of here.
Thank you so much for watching this episode of Camille Who, the Child Whisperer. A heartfelt thank you to the generous supporters of the Books and Beyond campaign. This series wouldn't be possible without you. If you're a new or expecting parent, I created Better Parent, Better Future just for you. I empower first time parents to embrace a positive mindset and navigate those early parenting years with confidence and joy. Click the link in the description to learn more or to find out how we can work together. Until next time, keep showing up, keep growing, and keep leading with love.